units, level 4 mobilization. Location, Fisk Tower.
Fisk?
SWAT is 1084 at Fisk Tower. All units stand by. Warrant is en route.
Captain Watanabe.
Did you take him down yet?
No. We're at Fisk Tower, but still waiting on the warrant.
Mind if I join in on the fun?
You know how his lawyers are. This one needs to go by the book.
Come on, Yuri. I've been waiting 8 years for this.
You really want to help? Head to Times Square. Sounds like his guys are trying to keep my backup from reaching the scene.
You got it. Almost there. Hello?
Parker, where are you? We must run through the demonstration at least once before the grant committee arrives.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. I'm dealing with a personal issue. I'll be in soon. Promise. Better wrap this up quick than get to my real job. Looks like Yuri called in the cavalry.
Times Square! Officers under fire!
Bring in the hammer.
Hot, fresh cup of bodily harm. Gotta warn you, I'm feeling punchy today. Next customer. This doesn't look good.
Somebody just shoot him!
Man, Fisk has a lot of guys on his payroll.
Spider-Man, what's your status?
Almost done here. You?
We're about to go in.
Be there soon. Can't wait to see Willie's face when you slap the cuffs on him. Okay, Yuri, all done. What's happening? Yuri? Yuri! I knew Fisk wouldn't go quietly.
Get more backup. And lock down the airspace.
Yuri, you okay?
If he makes it out of that building, we're gonna lose him.
I'm gonna go,
Do your thing.
Yes! Today's the day, Willie. Heads up! Hey, where you going? Catch! I'll clear a path. Follow me!
Get out of here, Spider-Man. We got this.
All right, I think it's working now.
Hello, test.
Was that it? Testing. Sounds like the.
That was like, for some reason, we could hear everything through the Elgato. I don't know if it's gonna come in through doubly or something.
Hello. Audio is shit.
It's shit.
Are you sure it's the microphone audio?
It's the focus right USB. Like tap it just to make sure.
Alright.
Yeah, it's definitely that.
Let me turn on the audio on my end.
It is on the modern down mix. Yeah.
Test.
Test. Sounds fine.
It sounds fine. We'll go.
Stream's retarded. What a surprise.
Was that double?
No, that was because it was hearing what I just played.
Okay. All right. All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to I Am Games, the only show where we go like 10 whole minutes before realizing that our audio's not on.
I just wanted an awesome diatribe on how great Spider-Man was at the entire history of the character.
I did this in-depth analysis of the opening scene. I fucking was talking about the whole history of the games. You were talking about everything about
the only time
comics.
we're on point, and it totally...
Right. We were seriously on point for like 10 whole minutes that you guys will never hear.
I get it.
I guess should we just repeat all the things we said, or what? Like,
I don't know.
well, anyways, the opening scene's really great. I guess I hadn't really made the point I was getting to anyways, so I could just go for that. Which is that this game seems like it's the we listened to you guys game. It's like they combined the action style of Spider-Man 1, which everybody loves, with the like free-roaming web slinging of Spider-Man 2, which everybody loves. And like they made it. The opening scene is like it establishes everything you need to know about the character, and then you just go straight into the action, like no fucking around.
You just like it goes straight from cutscene to in midair web swinging, and it's just like that's how you do it.
It's pretty sick, and it looks fantastic, and not just like I think that the biggest misunderstanding that people can have about like modern graphics is like not only does this game have like legitimately incredible photorealistic graphics, but like the art design is also great. Like everywhere you fight that's something like this where it's like a specific instance, there's just really perfect lighting and everything to make it like a memorable encounter. Like that, look at that. That looks fucking great. That looks iconic, you know? It's like just all around, the game looks and feels good, and I think that's all anybody really wants from a fucking Spider-Man game.
That's all anybody wants from a game.
Yeah, with no bullshit, and like there is some.
There's a little bit of bullshit.
There's some bullshit. There's definitely some hand holding. There's some, we saw earlier. You're leaving the mission area, but at least it was like 1 second. Like a screen came up and said, "Hey, go back," and you're like, "Okay," and you went back. In Red Dead Redemption, it literally killed you for leaving the mission area and like reloaded the mission.
Right. Yeah.
That was so fucking obnoxious.
We shouldn't get too heavy on Red Dead. We don't want to lose all our viewers.
No.
We're building, I guess, the greatest game of a generation.
Well, suffice it to say, we hated that game. And
that game
this
was
one's
not
cool.
games.
No.
Spider-Man, status.
So,
Heading to the upper floor.
oh, we're getting asked, how many Spider-Man games have y'all played, and what's your opinion on them?
Well, I was just saying I really liked Ultimate Spider-Man, probably even more than Spider-Man 2. Just because you could play as Venom, and I really like the cell shading, and I really liked the Ultimate Universe comics, like the first, like the Mark Bagley and Brian Michael Bendis run, which is what that game was based on. So that's probably my favorite fucking Spider-Man game, but I really liked the PS1 original, even though I played that on N64, which was not as good.
I played it on N64 as well.
All those cutscenes were fully animated in the PlayStation version, which made me kind of sad when I found that out.
Doesn't the PlayStation version also not have as bad of like fog?
It wouldn't surprise me. N64 had a really big problem with that shit, with draw distance.
Yeah, I didn't even know, like, until probably a decade later about, like, the quality difference between the two. But I also grew up with I never, maybe I did own it. I don't remember if I ever owned the N64 version, but I know I played, up to the Carnage fight and could not beat it. And then I think I remember seeing a video about, like, that game that explained that Carnage fight was just made nearly impossible on the N64 version or something like that.
Was it?
Did you ever beat it?
Oh yeah, I beat that game tons of times. I got like all the
Maybe
special costumes and stuff.
I don't remember.
I mean, that's like the conceit of me playing all these games, right? Is that you're not good at video games?
Well, I would have been like 8, but
I mean, I guess I was 10, so I guess I have 2 years of gaming cred on you at that point.
yeah, I remember me and Victor played it, and we would like just switch off between us while playing, because
I know Jack says a lot when you first play that game, like the Monster Rock, the final boss, you're supposed to run away from, and he didn't know that for a while, so he just kept trying to fight it and failing.
that's hilarious.
But,
Yeah, so what others have you played besides
played
those 3?
I played a little bit of Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro for PS1, which was okay. The notable thing about that to me at the time was like, oh, they got graphics good enough to draw the little web pattern on Spider-Man's costume, which up until that point they were not able to do for whatever reason. I also played Spider-Man Separation Anxiety for the Sega Genesis. Was another game I played. That one kind of sucked. But it was just like a standard kind of beat 'em up sort of deal.
Fisk may be a dirty criminal.
Sorry, I was just reading the chat talking about the audio, because some of them were like, it's fucked up. The other one's like, I'm pretty sure that's just echo, because they're in a big room. Yeah. We don't have the best streaming setup in here, but like, we still haven't quite reached the point with IM Games where it's like a serious venture yet, because we haven't actually made a first video.
We need to like get on that. We're not taking it seriously enough, my dude. It's
Well,
time.
that's what we're doing right now. We're finally playing the game.
Exactly.
I mean, kind of the idea was like, once we had a video out and we had seen like how will it perform, like will people give a shit, then we can decide how much effort we want to put into it, you know? But like, because our first idea was let's do a Fable retrospective, and then like I decided to make an entire month of videos. I mean, we were doing those at the same time, but like, in the meantime, I got really onto this whole, hey, let's like actually look at stuff that's relevant currently kind of kick. And so we knew that Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to be super relevant, and we'd heard so many good things about Red Dead Redemption, so we decided to play it, and we both absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
And to clarify, it was like a 3-hour session where you were playing, and you were just like not having fun until you broke away from the script and just decided to like do whatever you wanted.
I decided to become a bad person, just murder everyone I saw.
Yeah. And then May was like, oh, well, my brother loved this game and, like, wouldn't shut up about how great it was. So, like, I'm going to play it as well to show you, like, so we can pay more attention to the cutscenes and everything and you can get, like, a better experience of it. So she started playing, played about 45 minutes and was like, it's alright, the controls are kind of ass. And then I decided, fuck it, I'll just play it myself, skip all the cutscenes, and see if I can just get farther in the actual story. And I was like, oh, I hate this more than anything I've ever played before. So, and then you were like, dude, Spider-Man comes out in 2 days. And I was like, well, shit. Why didn't you say so? And so far, I love watching you play this game, and you seem to love playing this game.
It's damn good.
It's a good marriage. I think we might actually be able to fucking do this one.
Almost sad to see it end.
I love how meaty and weighty the punches and kicks feel. Like they do that whooshing effect that you see in like most of the Marvel games, I guess. Like I'm thinking of what's that one where you play as like all the heroes and they've got like little circles around their legs?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, doesn't that kind of have that kind of combat?
I played a little bit of that, but not a ton, so I can't really say one way or the other.
It reminds me of that. I like that there's variety in the ways that you'll attack. I don't know how much of that is like in the button presses though. Like when you go under people's legs, is that like something you control or just?
Yeah, if you punch somebody and then hit circle, you'll slip under them. It comes in later when the shielded enemies. That's how you get around their shields.
Oh, that was cool.
Got more where that came from.
There's just a lot of like little intricacies you can use. I don't know how deep it goes ultimately. Like I assume it's not fucking, it's not Bayonetta, but like there's stuff. You're not just aimlessly punching, and it doesn't feel as like I never liked that whole Batman Arkham combat system. Like people praise that so much because it's like it had lots of weight and stuff to it, but like I don't know, I always felt like there wasn't enough relationship between my button presses and what I was doing.
I mean the thing that's cool about the Batman Arkham combat is not that it's not in depth. Like there's not a lot of combos to do. Everything's just kind of the same. Like you're just hitting square. But the cool thing about it is that like the free flow thing is like the point of that game is not to ever get hit because you're Batman and Batman doesn't get hit. So you're supposed to every encounter is supposed to be one combo, and that's like where the fun of that game comes in.
I just didn't feel like I was actually I feel like I am pressing a button that like causes a cutscene to continuously play of Batman beating people.
I guess that's the point. That is entirely the point.
Right, and I just felt like there was no. I didn't like. Everyone would always say, "Oh, this game makes you feel like you are Batman," and I'm like, "No, it makes me feel like I'm watching Batman and like pressing a button that enables the action to continue playing." And like watching you play this, I feel. There's just a little more connection between you and the character.
You have more control over what the moves are doing than Batman, where like punch just does whatever the best attack to do in that situation is. Yeah. Where in this case, like you control a lot more of those movements.
No one to chase him if he flies away.
It was funny too because before you went to pick up this game, our buddy Jaxblade was already streaming it, and I went and looked at his stream for a second. And like I was worried because every time he got into a fight, I would just hear clack, 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 like he was just mashing the button as fast as possible. And I was like, uh-oh, is that how it plays, or is he just bad? But it sounds like it's not. I certainly am not hearing as much clacking from your controller as I was from his. Then again, he might have just been using one of those like mics that plugs into the controller. It probably picks it up way worse.
That's true.
I hope this game has dumb shit when you fail QTEs. It kind of just lets you keep going. It doesn't really care that much.
I haven't like totally botched a QTE yet, but there is an option in the settings to just turn off QTEs entirely, and I was very tempted to turn that on.
I did see you fail one where like you were supposed to catch a car or something, and like you didn't, and you just kind of got hit by the car.
Yeah, well that's
a big deal.
The problem is like with that where you failed is that you get tokens for completing missions depending on how good you do. So I lost a token for not saving the car.
I see.
and tokens help you upgrade stuff and shit like that. So
Oh shit! I forgot to mark this as a Spider-Man stream.
that would be very important to do.
Yeah, that would make it so people who just want to watch Spider-Man.
Settle down. I've got enough for everybody.
The current title of this is "Watch Me Playing a Great Game."
Yeah, that's the
Playing my
default
great
Elgato
game 40.
thing, and I have not yet been able to fix it for whatever reason. Every time I set it to something different, it just goes right back to that.
Hey, how do can I change the chat, or can I change the title through Twitch?
You should be able to, yeah, as long as you're logged in.
Okay,
I can't find the option.
one must be somewhere ahead.
Well, did you
Sorry,
can't figure
everyone,
out technology?
I don't know how to games.
You are games, not technology.
Yes.
You guys all right?
We're just about to call for backup.
Well, you'll have to just talk for a while I solve
Lead the way.
this. Here we go.
Right behind you. Heads up, boss.
I hate that it changes our title too. What is this? Is this game called Marvel Spider-Man?
Yeah, because they're owned by Disney now, so they gotta put their name in everything.
Are literally like, I think this might have just been coincidence, but our like viewer count went up by like 7 as soon as I did that.
Oh, hilarious.
So your plan
Make
B.
sure.
On to plan B.
It still says the same shit. Did I fuck it up? Did I not?
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, I keep having issues trying to actually do that. Oh god, I love when they shoot their own guys. That's hilarious.
Well, at least it seems to know we're coming Marvel Spider. The stream has not been running for long. It certainly hasn't been running for long with audio. Considering that we had no mic audio for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
Yuri. Looks like some of your guys were on Fisk's payroll. Good news is,
Alright,
Willie's
well, I
last
can't
one
seem to
is
get rid of it just saying, "Watch me playing a great
Take it
game."
down now.
Like if you
I
hover
suppose
over
it's not a lie. It is a great game. Time to fight Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin of Crime, aka the Fat Guy.
Anyway, we're not that concerned about
Writing your
being
memoir?
discovered.
Don't forget the
Again, like I've said,
This is the secondary part of the
Yeah.
concept.
the concept of I Am Games is that it is a video game analysis show that has a live stream where we stream the games and then we analyze them afterwards. However, we have not reached the stage of
We should
creating an
have
analysis
started
video.
with a video on YouTube explaining the concepts and just our thoughts on games as a macro
mean,
thing.
Like, that would maybe work as like a channel trailer, I guess. Like, no one's gonna pay attention to that if we, like, what would it get?
But everyone just keeps bitching that there's nothing on the channel.
You shouldn't have.
There is stuff on the channel.
You should just put the
live streams are
playlist. You
there.
should put the playlist on the front part of the.
Until like,
So people
until we
know
have
that it's
another
there.
video. Yeah. I just figured it wouldn't take us that long to get the first video out. It's just that
Well.
we switched games so many times. Like, but I mean, there's nothing stopping us now. We've got the game we want to talk about. I already have plenty to say about it. Like,
What's wrong, Willie? You see me?
the audience didn't get to hear it, but even the opening cutscene, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, all this blah blah blah. Oh shit. They're actually fighting Kingpin.
Yeah.
Give me an opening.
He's a big motherfucker. So, I don't know shit about, like, Marvel in general. Kingpin's he's from the other guy series, right?
He's been in a lot of
Punisher.
Spider-Man stuff too. Like if
Oh,
you
there
grew
it
up watching the '90s cartoon, he was like one of the big villains for Spider-Man in that. Just because they're both in New York, obviously there's some crossover there. But yeah, he's traditionally a Daredevil guy, but him and Spider-Man tango a lot too.
And he's just like a mob boss.
He's just very, yeah, he's like the kingpin of crime. He's like the guy behind all the crime shit in New York. But publicly he's like a philanthropist and a businessman, so people like him.
I was gonna say the same to you.
And like the whole part of this, like the beginning of this game, is that like we finally have evidence to take down Kingpin, and that's why the police are after him and all the shit's going on. So the tutorial of the game is finally taking down the Kingpin, and once we're done taking down the Kingpin, there's a huge gang war that starts because everyone's trying to take his place.
Oh.
And so you're trying to like solve that shit. And so, oh my god, this part kind of sucks. There's just so many fucking dudes, and they just keep coming. So like fighting these guys is kind of not worth it. You should just keep punching Kingpin anyway. But it's hard to punch him when there's all the other guys trying to punch you as well.
Get up in the air. Is there anything you can...
I had a great air combo, then I restarted the game, and now I can't do it anymore.
No, I meant, like, is there anything you can swing from in this room? That you can just, like, get away from these guys for a minute while you fucking...
The problem is, like, the bullets... like it's kind of like fucking Gun Gale Online, where it's got the little lines telling you about to get shot, and it doesn't matter like how much you move. If you don't hit the dodge button, those bullets will hit you.
You had to compare it to Gun Gale Online.
Yeah, I just because I knew it'd piss you off, and it worked.
I mean, I understood. But I wanted to turn on the cutscene subtitles.
You know what? That's a good idea because
so I can read them.
I missed a lot of the stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bitch.
Fuck that. This is another example of like the fights have just they're put in rooms with just awesome lighting and like this is like a really interesting like modern design room. I like the statues. It's like you're in the Ornstein and Smo fight or something. Well, you wouldn't know about that.
I know fucking idea what you're talking about.
Fucking noob. This is just the greatest video game of all time, Dark Souls, that you don't know anything about.
Dark Souls, aka the worst game ever made.
Don't even joke about that. You will actually get us crucified.
I literally don't care.
Don't worry, audience. I am the biggest Dark Souls fanboy in the world, so we balance each other out.
The biggest Dark Souls hater, so our channel overall has a very neutral take on Dark Souls.
I think you would like Dark Souls if you played it a certain way.
If I have to play a game a certain way, the game is fantastic.
I mean, like, you're always gonna play a certain way.
A kiss now?
Like, that's like saying... Like, okay, the first time I played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, well, the only time I played it, it took me, like, half the game to, like, actually learn how to dodge. Like, you know how the enemies, like, flash red and you're supposed to dodge at that moment? Because I'm so bad at, like, spectacle fighters. And the reason I'm bad at most games is that I look too much at my character and not enough at the enemies. And, so, like... You could say that I would have been having...
Yeah, fuck film great.
I would have been... Turn off the motion blur, too. Fuck that shit.
I love motion blur, but I'll turn it off for you.
You don't like... Why? Why do you like it? What do you like about it?
Because it makes...
But you could put it, like, a little up.
It makes low frame rates look less shitty, because without the motion blur, it just looks really choppy. I thought the subtitles would be in here, and they're not. Game?
Accessibility. They're probably in accessibility.
Maybe.
Because that's like, you know...
Stable pair, big subtitles. We need big subtitles?
Oh, you won't have to wear your glasses anymore.
I'll still have to wear glasses for everything else. I can't... Literally, the game gets
Did you turn them on or not?
Yeah, I think I did. Right?
I don't
Accessibility,
know.
big subtitles on.
You turn on the big subtitles. Right.
Is there regular ones?
Is that not what the subtitle background is? What's the difference?
Enable contrasting subtitle backgrounds for easier readability. No, that just makes the text pop out more. Option to skip puzzles. Hell yeah. That's what I like. Anything that makes me use my brain, fuck it.
You know, I think you've got more enemies in there.
Okay, well, this didn't make subtitles appear.
Maybe it's in something else then. Settings. Game. Swing camera shake.
The difficulty is amazing? What does that mean?
Oh, it's friendly, like friendly neighborhood, amazing Spider-Man, and the hardest one is spectacular.
I see.
Instead of easy, medium, hard,
There's no ultimate?
No. Maybe that's unlocked after you finish the game. I might have to like leave the game to turn these on.
No way.
Oh, there we go.
They're in audio. That makes perfect sense.
Gotta go.
Hey, there we go.
I have a feeling we're gonna need it.
Alright.
Kept order in this city. 1 month! In 1 month you'll wish you had me back!
That's what we call in the IM Games lexicon foreshadowing.
Yes.
Celebrate. Maybe take a vacation.
So,
I'm just chilling.
did we talk about every Spider-Man game that you had played?
Pretty much.
Oh, you leveled up. What does that do exactly? Oh, I
You-
guess it increases your health
You get stuff.
and gives you a skill point. What do you do with the skill points?
You get new moves and shit.
Sick.
So we have 3 trees. This one's like cool web stuff. This one is like punchy things. This is web slinging stuff. Which tree? This tree was the defender tree was one I was really liking a lot.
Get whatever gets you back to that like power that you had just got.
Yeah, I need to find where that is. It might be in web slinger actually.
Oh, we didn't
Yeah.
clarify this before because fucking the first 10 minutes were cut out, but you've already played like 8 hours of this game.
Right. Yeah.
And you had just unlocked like the coolest ability.
Yeah,
that
air
made you,
yank.
Like, this
hold
is-
triangle while in the air to yank enemies upwards. So what you do is you hold down square and that punches somebody up, and then you start beating the crap out of them. Then once you kill them, you hit triangle, you'll web another guy up, so you just keep going and you never touch the ground. You just rape everybody, and it's the best.
Sounds exciting.
It was amazing. It was spectacular. It was the ultimate way of playing the game.
You just said, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fucking great. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that one. That was so good I couldn't believe it was real. This game, I was remarking when I was watching you playing it before
I'm almost there.
that in many ways it feels to me like it combines the best elements of traversal in a bunch of other games like this, because in a free roaming game, like,
But sometimes it gets
the traversal is kind of the most important part, because, you know, that's what you're going to be spending most of your fucking time doing, is just going from one side of the map to the other. And, like, Grand Theft Auto, it's all about, like, hey, which car am I going to steal? And then, you know, drive around and do shit. But, like, I feel like traversal is largely boring in most Rockstar games. That was the biggest problem. Well, I won't say the biggest problem. One of a litany of problems that we had with Red Dead Redemption was that controlling the horse felt like ass, and that was like what you had to do most of the time. And then we were talking about Infamous and how it's a little closer to this in terms of like, you know, it's all about parkouring off of different stuff and using your superpowers. But with that game, you had to plan your route a little bit too much. Like,
Yeah, there was no way to just like instantly get from the ground up to the air. You had to like build. You had to slowly climb up the first building, and then you had
Yeah.
some options. A game I really like, Prototype, did this fantastically.
yeah.
There was-
Prototype and the Hulk game that came before it from the same developers.
Yeah,
Where
they
like,
had their shit together.
you just in those games you just fucking haul ass up buildings and then you can jump like insanely far.
Which is kind of what Spider-Man's doing.
Yeah, and this game definitely takes cues from that, but then it takes it to another level with the web swing. It's like a combination of those with also you can just swing around. And the web swinging is super satisfying because there's so much variable height in the city. Like,
What made me know this was going to be great is I was reading a review for this, and the guy said even once quick travel was unlocked, I never used it because I didn't want to. Like,
right? Why would you?
There's no like better thing you can read about movement in the game than that.
Yeah. And like that's what Spider-Man 2 was so famous for, but like being able to do it with the level of like polish between like when you're swinging like fucking when you swing like a whole city block and then you like hit a roof and do like a roll and then just go immediately off that roof into more swinging, it's like the coolest looking fucking thing in the
Yeah,
world.
the transitions to keep the movement going is like brilliant. Also, that's Otto Octavius, future Doc Ock, not Doc Ock yet. He is balding, and I find it hilarious for no apparent reason.
Has he ever been balding in anything else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wasn't he
Fuck.
balding in the second movie? He wasn't an old fat guy. I know that.
There's a funny thing about Otto Octavius in the comics. There was a whole little thing they did for a while called the Superior Spider-Man, where Doc Ock and Spider-Man changed brains. And so Doc Ock's brain was in Spider-Man's body for a while, and Spider-Man
yeah.
became evil
I
and
heard
murdered
about
people, and was actually like pretty cool, and apparently people liked it.
Yeah, I heard of that story.
Is anyone
And then like Spider-Man's ghost.
Hey
like,
Mark,
haunted
did
him or
you eat
something.
any of these?
She had a whole different
Okay.
plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, did we just fucking tear through like?
I was
18
going at it,
sticks?
and I felt really bad, and then I realized that Mark had their own over there. I'm like, oh, thank God. I got full reign on this
We
now.
can discuss this.
I've just been informed you can't say rape on Twitch. So be careful.
Why?
I don't know.
This is like my YouTube comment all over again. It's like to like forcibly seize resources. It's a real word.
Yeah. Prototype is probably the best fun game. Is what this guy
It's
said.
very fun. Being able to slice somebody in half with claws
this-
that grow out of your arms is pretty cool. This is the worst part of the game so far that I've played. Is this part right here?
Where you just pick up this thing.
No, you don't just pick it up. You got to do a bunch of gay puzzles to fix it. It sucks.
Well, you can turn off puzzles.
I can turn off puzzles, but I feel like in order to judge this game properly,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do them. Like, remember those puzzles in BioShock? It's like that. And I've only had to do it once so far, and I really hope it never comes up again. Because it sucks.
I never played BioShock. But,
What?
These puzzles also exist in Ratchet and Clank, actually.
They suck in every game.
This actually looks exactly like, if I remember correctly, one of the puzzles in one of the Ratchet and Clank games. It might be from 2, but noteworthy because this is an Insomniac game. And
and another thing that Insomniac about this game is you get tons of gadgets. So you keep building new gadgets. That's like one of the things you get with those tokens as the game goes on.
That's neat.
So you get like bombs and like remote drones and all crazy shit like that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that that made this game, like, the hype so strong for it, is that it is them as the developer. And it's kind of funny because, like, I was a huge fan of the Ratchet and Clank games back in the day when I was a kid. I never really played the Spyro games because I didn't have a PS1.
We'll get a chance to do that. The remasters are coming out pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, oh god, I can't remember what I'm saying because I suddenly have a fucking big ass gas bubble passing through me.
Oh,
I'm about to fucking fart. There we go.
How in the fuck?
On stream. There you go.
God damn.
I didn't even try. That just fucking slipped out. Oh, I should probably talk about what happened to me yesterday.
That smells really bad.
I'm sorry, Mark.
You just fucking destroyed Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
I'm so glad I'm downwind right now.
What is downwind? The AC is blowing towards us, so it should just be blowing it backwards through the room.
Well,
Mark's just in the worst position because the AC is not on that side. Anyways, so yesterday we were going to B Games and play this game, and then I died for like the entire day.
yeah, you're very sick.
I woke up with constipation, and I couldn't shit, and it kept getting worse until I had this pain in my like lower intestine that was just unfucking bearable, and I was just like bedridden and hallucinating for most of the day. And like occasionally I would feel like decent enough to get up and like walk around a little bit, but for the most part I was just fucking dead. And I felt terrible because Tom was excited to get this game and play it. I mean, which you ended up doing anyways, which I was gonna encourage you. I was just gonna be like, dude, you can play the game without me. But I was afraid to say so because I also was gonna tell you, but we'll have to start over if we do games. Oh god, there's more of this? Why?
Yeah, it's kind of... It hasn't come up again since this part of the game, so I'm hoping, like...
See, I had this sense when I came in and watched you play earlier, or last night rather, because I came in to watch you play for a while, and I was getting this read from you that, like, you were really into this game, but that there had been something that happened that had pissed you off and you were very wary about it. Like, you had this feeling of resignation, like, oh yeah, it is cool, but like there was like a but that you weren't saying.
This part.
And I was like,
This
there
kind of
must
shit.
be something.
I'm afraid there's going to be more of this around the corner.
And that was why I asked you, like, oh, how bad was, like, the tutorial? And you were like, oh, the tutorial was actually great. And I was like, oh.
It was, because the tutorial was beating the shit out of the Kingpin. That was fucking dope. But then this happened. I'm like,
That just, it felt so disconnected.
Like,
from
none
the
of that
game.
was necessary at all. It didn't serve any function.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like that was because they had like little descriptions for everything in that. Like this is how you do it, and I was like, oh god, am I gonna have to do this again? But it hasn't come up in like 8 hours, so I'm like, oh okay. Hopefully.
Why would they put it so early into the game?
I really don't know.
Can you swing by the precinct? Got an issue that...
Like, I understand perhaps the desire to like change up the pace a little.
No.
But that is not the way
break
to
up
do
the
it.
combat with web slinging and break up the web slinging with combat. There you go. You're done. You fixed it. You got your pacing down 100%.
Yeah, that's most of what the game is. Like, it's very. That's another thing that's interesting about this game is it's very like flowing. Like when you arrive at the place you need to be, it just kind of like starts the thing, and then as soon as it's over, you're right back. Like, you know, like it just puts you like. The mission I watched you do before, you like went to a bank and had to stop a villain from wrecking the bank, and then when it was over, you were just left outside the bank, and there was like cop cars everywhere, and it just felt like that scene had just happened in the middle of your day, you know? And it kind of gives perspective to like something that I think was also communicated well in like the first Sam Raimi movie, like how busy Spider-Man is.
Yeah, this game does a lot of that too, because like what was happening. The reason you were out so late at the time is because you just gotten evicted from your apartment.
Right. So, like, and that's the thing, there's, in this game, if you're playing the missions, it will switch from day to night, like, so you have this palpable sense of this is all happening in real time, like, you're swinging around the city, getting calls, and, like, hearing things, and then you show up at a place and you do something, and now it's, like, getting later in the day, and then, like, you know, it's just, like, and it makes sense because that is within Spider-Man's character, is that he is somebody who, because he's a superhero, he will actually do, like, this many crazy, exciting things in the span of a day, you know, and he's sort of riding the pulse of the city.
Tell people when you come up here.
That I need a break from their crap.
Fair enough.
Is there going to be an I Am Games Discord, and if so, when? I have no idea. I don't know why there would be one.
People just like
Discords,
yeah.
I don't know. So far, we haven't given much consideration to like what kind of empire I Am Games is meant to be, other than
Selling t-shirts.
selling T-shirts, making analysis videos, and live streaming.
Basically, if you want more stuff, just buy more t-shirts.
Yeah. Like, the more T-shirts we sell, the more seriously we will take the venture. Granted, we're both wearing the shirt and we don't have video on right now.
Well, just plug the camera in then, dude. I'm
know
playing
if
the
it'll-
game.
I don't know if it'll reach, like, correctly.
Sometimes you just gotta try,
I
dude.
could.
Sometimes
I
you just
could.
gotta fucking try.
I guess I could try that while we're in a cutscene and all.
I thought you trusted me.
So I don't know. You said that you don't know if that girl's in the comics, right?
I don't know if that girl's in the comics.
But she's like the police. She's like your Commissioner Gordon.
Pretty much. She's like it's said later in the game that like she's not supposed to be helping you. If anybody finds out, she will get fired, and like bad things will happen to her.
So this is also a puzzle you have to do like multiple times, but this one seems a lot more reasonable because like there's a clear purpose to it. Like it seems like what the puzzle is relates to the result of the puzzle, you know?
Right.
And it's just to set up like a Assassin's Creed Watchtower thing.
And the nice thing about this that I kind of like opposed to something like Assassin's Creed, every time you unlock one of these, there's instantly items around to reward you for it. Because like it adds to your map so you can see what stuff's going on. So every time you do a tower, it's not just like, oh, I guess I did it. It's like, no, like here's some loot now. Like you get shit.
I thought that was what it did in Assassin's Creed, but I never played them, so...
It just kind of unlocks more of the map, so you can go more places. Assassin's Creed sucks. For a channel called I Am Games, like every popular game, we're always like, it sucks. Shit.
Well, like...
These guys didn't forget their keys.
I think that what happened during the previous era of video games is that there became like a stratification in what even is a gamer. Because like video games got way more popular, but they did so by making as many broadly accessible games, and like what the broad consumer market looks for in games just wasn't the same as what the previous niche gamer market liked. And in spite of that, this new broad category were the people who saw themselves as like the true gamers, even though like, you know, they're kind of the opposite of what the other people were looking for. That's why you get people like Hippo, who's constantly nostalgic for the PS2 era, because it was just like when the PS3 came out, it just games were not interesting to him anymore. And I kind of feel the same way, where like, for me, I grew up on like Nintendo games and like RPGs, you know, like mostly JRPGs. And then when the PS3 and Xbox 360 came out, I just kind of stopped playing video games for the most part. And like, I had put a lot of hopes on the Wii, and I hated the Wii. So, like, for me, it was just kind of like being ass out for a whole console gen, you know? And then finally, when the PS4 came out, like, I got excited again because it feels like there's been a lot more, like, real games again, you know? Like Doom.
God, Doom's good.
And this game kind of falls into a middle ground, and, like, I think a lot of the games like the Assassin's Creeds and the Grand Theft Autos, like, they don't really put a lot of focus on, like, being mechanically sound. They're more about how much shit can we put in the game. Like, how big can it be and feel, how much story, how much, like, you know, everything, but without making it particularly deep. Like, with Red Dead Redemption, there's tons of shit you can do, but like none of it's fun because it feels like shit, you know.
God,
and like
by this guy.
With some of these games, like the prototype games and like the Spider-Man game, I feel like it's an attempt to bridge that gap and be like, hey, you know, just because you're someone who cares about depth of mechanics doesn't mean you're not somebody who would love to play a big open world game, right, you know. Right. And like, open world doesn't have to mean shallow dog shit. And I mean, there's probably plenty of open world games that have been, you know, that have been better, but like, I haven't played them. Because to me, open world just means time sink, you know. But it seems like this game is not absorbently long, because you already had like 31% completion on your original file in like a night. So,
oh my god.
It also doesn't seem like there's ass loads of random bullshit just like asking for your time in this game.
Oh my god. These guys are fucking annoying as shit.
Like, I'm more used to, in an open world game, having like the side quests constantly pester you to like, hey, maybe check this out, you know? Like in Infamous, there'd always be like, you know, whatever, your fucking friend like calling you up to be like, hey, why don't you go help these people with some random crap, and you get there and you do it and you're like, that wasn't worth it, you know. That just makes this game feel even longer. Right. I did actually play some of Infamous, and
I beat both Infamous games. Well, I haven't played Second Son yet for the PS4, but I beat the first two.
What did you think of them?
They were fun. I mean, again, like, the movement really hampered the experience, and I thought
You're a little weird.
the combat wasn't super weighty, but yeah, they were good distractions. I mean, I got them both for like $5 a pop, so I wasn't like stressing them not being great, but Prototype was a lot better.
This guy said, gotta live on the DS, did you? That's where the real games hit during that era. I know, but I didn't like it. Like, I just, like, the DS was just uncomfortable to hold. I just didn't, I'm not really that into playing handheld games because I don't go anywhere. Like, when I was a kid...
I mean, I've always played the DS and stuff, just at home.
Right, like, when I was a little kid, I would play a lot of Game Boy Advance, just, like, kind of on the couch in the living room while my parents were watching TV and stuff. But, like... and I loved the SP when I had that, but, like, the DS, it just felt so uncomfortable, and it would always feel like I was just breaking my neck to look down at the goddamn thing. Because much like with reading a book, there's no way to find a comfortable position to do it, you know? And like, when I play a video game, I play through in one sitting usually. Like, I'll just sit down with the game and beat it, typically. So like, with a DS game, it's like after fucking 5 or 6 hours, I'm fucking dying. But it did seem like that's where all the best games are coming out. But it also led to this... It was so unfortunate because I feel like for a whole generation, up until Steam started taking off and like digital sales on consoles, like... It just became that, like, the middle, like, what's the word I would use? B grade games like disappeared. Like everything had to either be AAA
Like a double A
or
game.
like nothing. You know, like it's either the most expensive game in the world or it's just some little DS thing. And you know, most of the games I find myself really loving tend to be in the middle ground. And I mean, thankfully there was like, I think that's why the Souls series was so fucking huge, is that was like the only thing that was occupying that like AA space in the meantime for like people who really wanted those unique kind of niche. And Platinum, like those two companies are like the AA experience of, hey, do you care about a game that's like mechanically deep and has a niche appeal but isn't a fucking PSP game? Then like, here you go.
How many of these are scattered around the city?
Still there? Got a robbery a few blocks away.
Spider cuts on it. Part man.
Someone asks, is this game good?
Yeah.
It's pretty good in our experience so far. Infamous was a letdown after the Sly trilogy. Yeah, Sly was better.
I mean,
And that's also
dude,
part of
those games sucked. Like they gave up Jax for Resistance. They gave up Sly for fucking Infamous. It was not worth losing either of those franchises.
And we lost Jack and Daxter for Uncharted. But personally, because I never played Resistance myself, but my brother did, and Resistance seemed like it was a good game. Like it is the first one's a little bit more like milquetoast, but like from the second and third ones they improved it dramatically. And like,
but like we have enough first-person shooters. We didn't have enough character platformers. Like that was just so much more fun.
Yeah, and I mean they kind of tried to. Like, because the thing about Resistance is that it had, like, Ratchet and Clank wacky guns. So it was like, you know, it's a first-person shooter, but it has, like, that that creativity in the weaponry that you know, Insomniac's known for. But, yeah, like you said, I miss when we had Ratchet and Clank, you know? And they took Ratchet and Clank in such a weird direction that it was like, okay, don't know why you even bothered keeping it alive if you weren't gonna do it, you know, if you weren't gonna do it up.
Yeah.
What did we? I'm trying to think. Is there another studio that was like that? But yeah, I mean that's what Hippo always talks about. Is like, you know, all of the mascot platformer companies became like weird, super modern games that were like, granted they were like the better ones in those genres, but like they were still in those genres. And this game is no different in a way. I mean, it's another open world game, but it doesn't really feel like one, weirdly.
I think it just dodges a lot of the trappings.
Yeah.
That make them just not fun to play.
Because I've never been watching you play this and felt like, oh god, one of these, you know, except for maybe the barrels mission, which I'm sure we'll get to.
I mean, that's not even necessary. We don't have to do that. That was just like one of those like side quest Oscorp things. It was not mission critical at all.
I see.
Should I head back to the lab?
So like, how do you activate like subquests and shit in this game?
Well, right now, like they've only found like one side quest so far. They're just like on the ground. Like you just talk to people and they'll make you, and you can do stuff for them.
So it is at ground level. Because in the time I've watched you play this, you have spent almost no time at ground level.
Yeah, ground level's lame. Fuck it.
Which is fucking sick that that's even possible. That like you can basically play this game like it's like you know, you can choose to be a loner in this game. Like you can choose to be an introvert and just make the skies your home. You know.
One of the things I like about this game a lot that I just did that you may or may not have noticed is like in Assassin's Creed, when you go on the towers, they play a little cutscene of like, oh, look at this cool view of the tower. In this game, you just hit circle, you skip that whole thing, you should immediately get back to it.
Sick.
And I'm just like,
I would have just assumed it was a loading time or something.
In Assassin's Creed, it might be, but in this game, it's literally just like, look at this cool view, and I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of options. The fact that you can turn off motion blur is cool. The fact that you can, you know, that you could literally turn off puzzles. Like, they definitely knew there were gonna be people who were like, well, this is the part I don't want to play.
Right. Like that. There's a lot of games are doing that now, which is pretty cool. Like the new Tomb Raider. Like you can adjust combat, puzzle, and exploration difficulties individually.
Huh.
So it's like I like combat, but I don't want to have any puzzles. So the puzzles are stupidly easy, but the combat's really hard. And it's just like that makes a lot more sense. Like especially if like you have a game, like you've designed the game to implement something like that. And it's just like yeah, like I'm here to like do cool exploration and like shooting, and like I don't want to think too much. It's like, well, just turn that shit off.
I mean, I would advise you go ahead and turn off the puzzles because like
if I find another one, I will turn it off because I really don't feel like dealing with that again. Yeah, here's another thing. Like randomly, crimes will just start showing up. So this one's like a car chase, which are probably the hardest ones. And this is like one of the problems we can talk about in this game is that like these guys are in a car, right, down there. Their bullets can still hit me. If I don't dodge them, they have like sniper powers from all the way up here, and I will get hit. And it's ridiculous. Like there's just no like see I'm getting hit.
Yeah.
There's no way they're gonna be able to hit me.
I mean it's just hit scan, you know, it's
really dumb.
Oh, this is the part I saw you do earlier, right?
Yeah, there's just a bunch of missions like this where you hop on the cars, you gotta get the guys out of there.
So is this like a side quest or is this a project?
It's just like these just happen randomly. Like crimes just kind of start happening.
So you were just like you just happened to be
in the area. It just happened.
This is what I meant when I said
So you failed fucking it up, and I'm like going hard on it. But whatever.
Are you meant to tap it or just hold it?
You have to tap it. That's why it's like it fills up. But yeah. Like they just randomly spawns, like things like that happen, or like an accident, like a car accident, you have to like save the people before the car blows up and things like that. And another funny thing in the game that we're probably not going to be able to hear too much because we're talking is that J. Jonah Jameson, he's basically Alex Jones and has like an InfoWars thing about like how everything's a conspiracy and I'm like the worst person ever and I work for the Illuminati and shit.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's totally on point. Right, there's a robbery over here, I think. I can just stop. Like the little exclamation points on my maps are just random crimes.
I see. I hadn't really processed that there was a mini map down there.
Yeah.
So it's just
kind
of
probably
happening
a drug
on the
deal
roof.
that's up on the roof.
Looks like we've got some doorbusters. And it's not even Black Friday.
Oh no.
I was just like wondering if there was like stuff that happens on the roofs because I hadn't really seen any people.
Yeah, the roofs are usually either drug deals or people trying to break into an apartment.
That's cool. So that's what these guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
Looks like they're staging a break-in up here.
You can have like break-ins on the ground.
This is not how we planned it.
And usually like they'll start running away and you have to like catch them all or you fail.
So like do these just kind of like is it considered the mission started just when you show up in the
like it's not even technically a mission. It's just like that guy's definitely gonna die. I definitely just killed that guy for sure. Oh no, haha, clever. You see that?
Yeah. Did you do that? Or
no, it just does it automatically just to make Spider-Man not a murderer.
That's fucking genius.
That's so good.
That's fucking clever as hell. Cause like
that'd be so easy to just like, oh, my immersion's totally broken.
Right, and like, but they didn't break flow by making it like, oh, you didn't save him, so mission failed. It's just like, no, it's just the character will do it for you. Like, you know, I wonder if you could have made that happen. Like,
I don't know.
If you had pressed the button on time, could you have fucking stuck him to the wall? It's really clever. So how do you find out how you did on the mission? Is there like...
It just ranks it at the end.
Are you still on a mission right now, or...
No,
like,
I mean, right now, these aren't even...
a ranking appear after that.
These aren't even missions. This is just like random things that happen that can keep you occupied.
Do you get anything for doing
Yeah, you get tokens. Like, depending on how good you do on the missions, you get tokens. Like, see those bonus objectives in the corner?
Uh-huh.
If I throw 3 objects, I'll get an extra token.
Okay.
So I can, like... It goes up, and... Or you get 1 token automatically for just stopping the crime. But if you solve those things, you get extra tokens, and those tokens help you upgrade. So achieve a combo of 10 or more, which I could probably do.
There you go. Alright, throw 1 more object. You fucking got it. Yeah. Hell yeah. Alright, so now you got 2 extra tokens, I take it?
Yeah, I should get 3 tokens from this instead of just 1.
Oh what? It's not fun getting beat up?
There you go. 3 tokens.
Okay. That's fucking... And then you're just gone.
And we're done. We're just going.
No fucking waiting for a screen.
So the yellow mark over there is that's like the main plot story. So those are like the main quests I go to, and that'll trigger a cutscene to start like a big actual mission. Or you can just go around the city and just solve crimes like that, and you can gain upgrades and stuff. Then the little backpack icons, those give you like little, because like the backpacks are like backpacks you've left around the city, changing into Spider-Man. Like that's like the kind of like lore part of it. But those give you different kinds of tokens you need to get new suits and stuff. So there's different kinds of tokens. There's a little bit of kind of fetch questy, but it's not bad. It's fine. And like they're not hard to find. Like it would be annoying, but like if I just hit like a little radar, it'll show me like where it is, and then I can go just grab it. And, like there's a crime down there that I can go stop if I want to. Part of like a robbery. So it's not. There we go.
Oh no, Spider-Man! Oh shit!
Man, I got fucking nailed on that one. I hit with some bullets. So another thing we should talk about is focus. So every time you hit somebody, you build your focus meter, and if you fill it completely, you can do like some instant kills. But another thing is at any time you can use what focus you have to heal a little bit of your HP. So if, like every time I get hit with a gun like that, I'll just hit down on the D-pad. I'll use what focus I've built up so far to prevent me from dying.
So this guy said, I despise the idea of skipping content on a conceptual level. If you think people are going to want to skip parts of your game, don't put them in. And it's kind of...
I kind of agree to a degree, but at the same time, you don't know who's going to want to play your game.
Well,
right?
not to mention, like, it's impossible to have nothing get skipped. Like, let's say you make a room that there's 100 places you could stand in that room. No one's gonna stand in every single crevice of that room, right? Like,
I mean, there are people who 100% games though, and I think that those are the kind of people who get insulted by it. Like Nate would never turn off anything in a game, you know?
Right?
He would just like 100%ed Hollow Knight just because.
I just think like if you,
I don't want that. Give me that.
If you were to say like, okay, well, if I understand simultaneously the mentality of like, well, you're not playing the whole game if you turn part of it off. But then at the same time, who gives a shit? Like, who are you trying to prove to, you know?
Right. Like, if you're someone who, like, gets, like, some sick, sadistic, like, weird utilitarian pleasure out of doing that, that's fine. But for me, I'm here to have fun.
Well, I think that would be the opposite of weird utilitarianism, actually.
I don't know. That's just my word for Nate-isms at this point.
Well, like... And
I'm sure he would justify it somehow.
But more on the part of the developers, it's like, you can never guarantee that like the player is gonna say okay, I played through Bayonetta 1. I did not ever learn any advanced combos, and like most people who really adore that game, that's what they love it for, is that they're gonna play it on the highest difficulty and they're gonna learn, like they're gonna really utilize every conceivable combo. And like, so the way I played it, you could easily say I missed half the game. Because half the game is learning all the crazy shit and playing it on the highest difficulty. Like, I mean, really, having difficulty settings at all in a game is a concession to let people miss part of it, you know? If you're designing it around a certain difficulty. Because
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the developer's choice. Like, you know, like going back to like the old Cuphead kind of example of like, oh, there's no easy mode. And it's like, well, that's their choice. They wanted it's their art. They get to decide how they want it to be developed.
Right. And like in a lot of games, like in the Metal Gear Solid games, like you will miss a lot of the game if you don't push yourself by putting it on the highest difficulty, because like the mechanics run so insanely deep that like they will not challenge you to use those mechanics unless you play it, you know, on a much higher difficulty mode. So like, you know, I feel like as a developer, you just have to like say to yourself, well, we put this in here for a reason, but that doesn't mean that reason is going to resonate with everybody. Like, I'm sure they put those puzzles in there just as a way to like make it feel like there's more stuff going on and like break up the pacing a little bit more. But like, if you're somebody who's just a really seasoned gamer who wants to be able to do like fucking the way you play this game, you don't stop. Like, I can see that I'm sure there's people who play this game and they spend a lot more time just like running around, taking their time between missions, like, you know, like not playing it in the same kind of free-form, constant way that you do. But like this is the way I'd expect someone who plays the kind of games you play to play this game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just because like that's the kind of
and so,
enjoyment
like,
I get out of it, just like beating the shit out of people, moving around, and that flow.
I feel like when they made this game, they recognized like, hey, this game is playable in a way where these puzzles will just be in the way. So for people who want to play it that way, like, let's give them the option to, like, you know, to observe the nature of the puzzles and then opt in or out, you know. And like, if you're playing it a different way, that might not be upsetting for you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your choice. I prefer, like, I understand there are like certain choices that like are going to be not offensive, but just like unpleasant to certain people. And at the end of the day, I defer to the artist. Like, if they don't want those choices there, they shouldn't be there. But as a player, I'd much rather have the choices be there than not. But I would defer to the artist and how they want their game to be designed. Like, if I could turn puzzles off in all games that aren't just puzzle games, like, I'd be cool with that. I don't go to games to play puzzles. I go to games to do cool punchy things. So, and like, more power to you if like you love puzzles. That's your jam, dude.
Hey, we got Ben in our fucking chat. What's up, Ben?
Ben, you gotta come over and
come do games,
alt-tech.
dude.
We gotta with some
and be an
alt
alt-techer with Tom.
No, dude, we got some shit that needs to be finagled. We need to kickstart Web 3.0.
Yeah, we're trying to be the pioneers of a new internet, but I'm too dumb, and Tom is able to learn, but like I need a bridge gap. I need Ben to have the vision of what the technology can do. It's like Tom can learn any new technology. Ben can determine what are the parameters of that technology, and I can figure out what can be created in those parameters. And by our powers combined, we are the trifecta of Web 3.0. We are the Triforce. What are the three Triforce? Power, courage, and wisdom. So you're the wisdom, Ben is the courage, and I am the power. And that is the Triforce of the Web 3.0. Digi, are you High-Am Games? I wish I was High-Am Games. The fucking...
Is that another t-shirt?
It would be... That'd be a good t-shirt.
Write it down, add it to the list. Doing good.
Now I need a fan art of Digi as Ganon. I'd take that. That'd be a good game.
Sorry, spider emergency.
Yeah, I want to be Big Fat Pig Ganon for sure. Although I'd also take Ganondorf, because I do like Ganondorf.
So this is the best part of the game. You're just walking and seeing random people. If you try and punch them, instead just like, yeah, what up? You just talk to people and they're like, oh, you're cool. And everyone's like, you're Spider-Man, you're so sick. I'm just like, yeah.
That's honestly, it kind of warms my heart to see an open world game where you're not encouraged to not even not encouraged, you can't just murder random people. Like, because that's always going to be the temptation if you play one of these games and they let you do it. Like, you're just, whether you really want to or not, like, I'm not someone who ever really enjoys or like gets a kick out of murdering random people in a game, because like I try to play games like relatively true to myself, you know? But like in open world games, sometimes it feels like if you're not doing that, then you're not going to have fun playing this game. It's like the makers of GTA know that like creating chaos is what you want to do, and that's what the game is, you know? So like to see a game where it's just like, hey, you don't even have to worry about it. Like, you're Spider-Man. You're not gonna run around beating the shit out of random fucking people for no reason. It's like, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to just be Spider-Man with nothing else on my mind. You agree with that? Or do you wish you could
I
beat
totally.
people?
I mean, I enjoy beating up people in certain games in certain contexts, but I like the idea of not having to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking pretty sick.
There's no temptation. There's no mechanic built around it.
I'm just gonna start jamming on the square button right now. Come on!
Hey, you did it.
I saved the car.
Good job.
I got my 2 points instead of just 1.
Oh, I guess if it's like an entire token you get for doing it, then it should be a little hard.
I still haven't used any of my upgrade points yet. I'm just kind of swinging around having a good time. Like, I haven't done any of the game yet. Like, I'm just doing shit.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, you can just do this forever. Like, fuck it. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Well, we should do some missions.
I mean, we should. But
is this how it was when you played before? Did you do this much side shit? Or is this more like now that you're returning to the game with more knowledge?
I didn't do as much, probably just because at the time when I first started playing, I didn't know you could just kind of run around and just keep endlessly doing shit. But after like a couple hours, this is what I was doing a lot of the time. So I'm kind of just doing what I was doing 3 hours into the game, 30 minutes into the game. So I'll just go do the next mission, go back to Otto's place.
More like Ottawa.
Haha, that doesn't make any sense, bitch.
These guys want to know what happens if you dive off a skyscraper.
Nothing. You tank the hit. There's no fall damage. You're fucking Spider-Man. It actually tracks your free fall, and you get extra points for doing more free falls. So.
Oh, dude, we gotta jump off the Freedom Tower then. Let's see how many points we can rack up. I am Octavius.
Yeah, so I gotta fix. But the thing right now is I gotta fix my costume, and this is where you get the new costume that's in this game, the new design.
Whoa. Here's a comment. One of the needlessly cool things in this game is that Spider-Man's dialogue is dependent on how much energy he's exerting. If you're standing doing nothing, he sounds chill. If you're swinging, there's another version of the same dialogue recreated to make it sound like he's exerting energy.
I did notice that, and I wasn't sure if that was in my head, but that's super fucking cool.
I do really like because Spider-Man is always known for the quips, and in all the games they do that. This is the first one where I have not heard him make the same joke twice.
Another cool thing that happened in this game is that sometimes you'll get like phone calls, and if you have a phone call and you get into like a crime, you start like beating up people, the call stops, and then when you're done, he'll call back. He'll be like, "Say sorry about that," and then the conversation continues.
It's like they accounted for everything that every pedantic nerd has ever complained about. That's why I'm excited to do an analysis video about this game.
It's super, because I was talking with Aunt May during it was one of the story-based like things, and like I just started fighting a crime, and the conversation ended. I beat them up, and I left, and then he calls Aunt May back, apologizes, and the conversation keeps going, and it was like, that's so fucking good.
I might call it the video like Marvel Spider-Man when the developers actually listen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, granted, some of this shit probably there just wasn't even technology to make possible before.
Sure.
And like this shit seemed like it was in production for an eternity, and like.
I mean, they announced this back like near like the PS4 launch.
Yeah, and it almost feels like impossibly polished. Like, I haven't seen like any scenes in this game. It's fucking nuts. There's nothing really makes me feel like takes me out of the fourth wall kind of thing, you know.
Sick. We got the new suit now.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't. I saw you were in this suit when I was watching you play before, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah. So like, what happened is that the old suit got beat up during the Kingpin fight, and then you go to the lab to fix it, and Otto comes in, and he thinks that he catches you, like, oh no, he found out I'm Spider-Man. He thinks you just make Spider-Man's tech because you're a fucking nerd. So he helped redesign the suit for you.
See.
So this is like some Otto Octavius.
So he
tech.
literally thinks that you just work with Spider-Man,
Right?
Like,
yeah.
I see. He thinks that you're his tech nerd. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Which, unfortunately, is probably going to come back and bite us in the ass once he becomes Dr. Octopus and can put 2 and 2 together and realize that you're actually Spider-Man. I actually like the suit design a lot.
You tell me, dog. You tell me.
Like, I wasn't sure about it before, but they added, like, the black suit, like, big white spider on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this suit a lot. I think it's sick.
It's pretty nasty.
Kind of looks like a shoe a little bit, but that's fine.
The only thing that kind of not even kind of sucks, but like I was wondering why no one reacts to your new suit. And again, that awesome transition back into gameplay.
Yeah, those
but
are good.
they don't notice your suit because after this point you can wear any suit you want, so they'll never know what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. It's a tiny little nitpick that does not.
I mean, I don't think that the average Joe would notice that Spider-Man was wearing.
Well, I didn't mean the random person. I meant like when you first see Mary Jane, you're in like different threads. She doesn't like mention anything about it. But only the most pedantic faggot would care about that, i.e. me.
I would it would be nice if there's some kind of if there was some kind of Easter egg dialogue about it, like maybe a a newspaper comes out, like a new issue of the Bugle, like Spider-Man's new suit is proof he's working with the Russians now, or something. You know?
Let's
My loyal listeners.
I like how you can unsubscribe from the podcast that JJ does at any time. But why would you ever want to do that?
Remember my warning.
Oh, you can unsubscribe. Like, what is it? What is like he's supposed to be doing it through?
I guess just like your phone or something, right?
Like, is it just like a podcasting app? That
It's an internet podcast. Because at one point he says like Spider-Man's a spoiled millennial. The internet ruined everything except for the part of the internet that does his show, which is perfect. And it's nothing happens when you jump off a building. It's just like whatever.
And there's nothing to show for it. About as close as you get to a happy ending in the real world.
I will say that this game, it does feel just a tad bit liberal agenda-y, in that they posed JJ as like specifically, not to say that I don't know if the Spider-Man comics weren't already that, but like you do a lot of like environmentalist stuff, and you're like big business scary boys are like ruining little Doc
there's a
Ock
little
stuff.
bit, because and it's funny because in this game JJ's like basically Alex Jones, but like in the Sam Raimi movies he was like the funniest guy, right? He's just like, oh, JJ gonna be JJ, and like they change Mary Jane. Like in this game, Mary Jane works for the Bugle because we can't have a woman being a model. Fuck that, because that's Mary Jane's actual profession in the comics originally. She was a model. I don't know what this red dot is. Don't know.
By the way, I want to clarify. I've got no problems with, like, I don't even mind when I say that it's like a liberal agenda-y game, because I think it makes sense for the characters to be that way. Like, because it's kind of funny. I feel like there's people who would raise that as like a bigger complaint, but like Spider-Man
seems like a liberal guy.
Kid.
He's definitely a lib cuck for sure.
Like I'm not even really bothered by it, but like it's just something I noticed that like J. Jonah Jameson is basically Alex Jones, and you are an environmental freedom fighter. Like, you know. But you know.
I like how this camera, when you go into like the building being robbed, it just frames the building. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little touch.
I felt the need to clarify that because I've come to realize that today, if you even point out that something is like that, then people just assume that you are like an alt-right fucking... Someone, do you remember fucking Jerry Pete, who became Lily Pete?
I do remember Lily Pete.
And now she's Lily Octavia.
Oh.
Still making videos shitting on me 4 years later.
Oh. They didn't like me much back in the day either.
Oh.
I'm sure they still don't.
No, probably not. Or anyone for that matter. But she's become like a hardcore like SJW mouthpiece kind of person, it seems.
Does not surprise me at all.
She accused me of being ultra conservative.
Oh, hilarious.
Because
ultra digibro, ultra liberal, ultra conservative gender isn't real.
Yeah.
Of course. That's the standard.
But she said this about my like opinions on High Guardians. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video. I just heard what people told me. But it was a video about like complaining about people complaining about High Guardians.
Well, that tweet went viral, and everyone said that you were like. They looked at the thumbnail and title.